Introducing LT Defense Tactical Gear, your ultimate solution for top-notch protection and performance in the field. Our armor bundles provide unmatched safety and comfort, while our battle belts and holsters ensure quick and easy access to your gear. Stay prepared for any situation with our high-quality medical supplies, designed to keep you ready for action at all times. Looking to enhance your skills? Our firearms training programs will take your proficiency to the next level. Trust LT Defense for all your tactical gear needs and gear up for success on the battlefield.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Into the Weeds podcast here on Military Broadcast Radio. I'm Amber.
And I'm Laura.
Today has been a wild day. So I actually, my modem went down 3 hours ago, and I thought for sure I was not going to be able to do this live broadcast, but I'm here. So thank you, Jay, for coming and joining us, and Laura Lynn, thank you for being here. It's good to see you guys.
We prevail. We persist.
Yeah.
We go on. I was asleep during this debacle, or maybe I was at work. I don't know.
Yeah, you were asleep.
I was asleep.
Yeah, it just all of a sudden happened. And I hope my husband, thank God for my husband, he ran to the store and got a new modem. So we're here.
Okay. Yeah, go off, Dad.
You didn't even know that.
No, I was asleep.
Well, we were also supposed to have another guest today, Ken, who was a prior guest.
Yeah, it'd be our first return guest.
Yeah.
I believe. Unless you want to count Joel. Hi, Joel, who's in the background.
Yeah, and but there was actually a tragic accident in Kansas City, and Ken is a chaplain at the fire station there, and he is dealing with the loss of firemen during training.
Yeah.
So, so just please be in prayer for that fireman's family and for Ken as he's ministering to them, because I'm sure it's
all like family. You don't want to lose any coworkers, any friends, any loved ones, and it's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, we're going to move on from that though. But since I didn't have Ken coming on, I was like, oh, dang, what am I going to learn? Or what am I going to learn? Yeah. Not much apparently. What am I going to talk about? And so I was in Discord, and somebody, Sarah, I think it was, brought it to my attention about Marcellus Williams, who will be, he's supposed to be executed on the 24th here in Missouri.
We're recording this on the 22nd on Sunday, so it should be on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I found out about this separately maybe 2 days ago, and I really thought I had sent you something, but apparently I didn't.
Yeah, no. And so I'm heartbroken hearing this story, and so we're going to get into it. But since Ken is not here, we have another veteran podcast host with us, MJ, and we are going to introduce her now.
Hold on.
Interview of the week sponsored by LTD Tactical.
Hello, MJ, and welcome
Hi.
to Into the Weeds podcast.
Hello, ladies, you beautiful beings of light. How are you?
We're good.
How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm out in the middle of the woods, so we're hoping and praying for Starlink.
One of my favorite places to be. Too
Yeah.
bad we can't bring our podcasting equipment outside.
Oh, I know.
Or else I'd be out there for sure. Too much to lug around.
Okay,
Exactly.
MJ, can you tell us who you are and what your podcast is about?
Sure. My name is MJ, and my podcast is The World of Conscious Positive Thinking. And what I try to do is give everyday events or modalities that happen a beautiful twist in conscious positivity, and how man has cycled themselves into a conditioned pattern that not everything that we are conditioned is on a positive consciousness. So we're trying to undo a lot of that.
Okay. Okay. And so how do you do that?
Well, triggers. So you find triggers and when we get angry. So any negative emotion that comes in, that is where then we go, okay, so this is on the scale. If you look at it like a clock and it's a 360, you have emotions, happy, silly, goofy. These are all great emotions to have that raises vibration. But then we have sad, and then we have angry, and we have distilling, and then we have loathing. Like these are all negative. So this brings our vibration down, which then it affects others, right? So when we get into our sad or our angry or our depressed state of mind, it affects the realm of all of us and within that energy. So we try to understand man's conditioned patterns that have been embedded in us, and we try to flip those patterns of old beliefs and old patterns.
Okay. Okay. Can you give us some examples of things that you're into?
Sure. Today, here's a perfect example. So as things were falling apart for you today, in our forums and we were watching things falling apart, then we had H-Train go, these are bad omens, right? Here it is. And I go, oh, no, they're not. These are divinely processed emotions. And his response was, well, that's the evil twin sister.
Yeah, probably.
So these are just, so you take something that it's frustrating, you know, traffic, people who have to wait in line, a patience, right? And we're sitting there going, oh my God, oh my gosh, come on. So now we have to breathe. We have to start to breathe. These are just techniques. And we just use different techniques in every situation, not to allow our egos and our judgments to interfere. And our egos and judgments are conditioned by man, which is our ancestral line, or it's by man, which is our peer pressure, our social pressures in our community. We all have evolved, because if not, we'd be throwing our virgin daughters in the volcano. So we're evolving.
Yeah. So is it true that you own a metaphysical shop?
I did.
You did? Okay. I've been doing a little bit of scrolling.
So
I heard a little there.
Yeah. So in November, because I was in the process of moving from South Florida, like right above the Keys in a little place called the Redlands, I started liquidating a lot of the different businesses that I owned. I had several of them, and one of them was a crystal metaphysical shop called Esmeralda's, and it was called Esmeralda's Earth, Wind, and Fire Boutique. And people were so sad. But when I told them, don't be sad, because what's happening is you're coming in for treatments and you're great, you're feeling good, everything's great, and then you're going home. And then when you go home, you're going back into that energy. You're not giving yourself enough time to process, or enough time to let go of that which is, you know, really hurting you. So me, who I'm a reverend, I'm a 12-step light therapy Reiki master. I do spiritual surgeries. I also do electromagnetic frequencies to help with healing those modalities. So they don't not only get a Reiki surgery, spiritual surgeries, then they get Dr. Rife or electromagnetics, so that we can make a more positive physical body and mental mind body. But if you don't get enough time and you go back into the same energy, you don't have the strength to have your boundaries, right? We all have to have our boundaries. Don't have them. And so that's what that shop was. And then I had another shop called Esmeralda's Salty Air Retreat. I still have that one.
Okay.
That one,
what was that? Or what is that?
It's a Himalayan salt cave. So you go in, that's where I used to have all of my circles with the moons, or with the PTSD vet circles. I used to go in there, and we used to be able to have beautiful, you go in there and you breathe Himalayan salt for an hour or two, and you clear your lungs and your sinuses, you raise your pH balance in your own body. And then you get to be very calm. It's very grounding, because Himalayan salt can only be found in Pakistan, a mile below the surface. And so we're already grounded. We're very grounded. And we now are able to loosen up our throat chakra, or what people call our voice. And then that is simultaneously located with our sacral chakra, which is right above our pubic bone, or your solar plexus, which is where we always harbor all of our skeletons in the closet.
Okay.
Well,
Oh, were you gonna ask?
Oh, I was gonna say I love the idea of a Himalayan salt cave. That's all I was gonna say. But what were you saying?
Well, this is probably a really stupid question, and
That's the stupid question ever.
I don't know.
Ever.
So, my husband and I were just talking yesterday about veterans who deal with doctors and things like that who are from the Middle East with their PTSD. Have you encountered any people finding out that your Himalayan salt comes from Pakistan and they're triggered?
No, I tell them, have you ever had an MRI?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody? CAT scan, MRI, where they have those machines. So inside those walls, believe it or not, from Russia only, is something called shungite. And shungite, we use it as an EMF blocker. You can see them on the back of phones. You can have big, statues, but in the walls inside these hospitals, that's what they're using. They're using these metal plates with shungite in order not to have these radiations or emissions. So we start talking that way. They're like, Russia. I go, what are you going to do? It's the only place you can find it, right? You can't look in a river for something, that's not for a deer when you know the deer's in the mountain, right? You don't look in the mountain for the fish when you know it's in the river. So it's kind of that way. And so we discuss it of Pakistan. I have yet to have anybody that I'm aware of that had a PTSD because the salt came from Pakistan. But that's a really good observation. I love that. And though it never transformed, I always start out with Russia. And then I go, it's just like Madagascar, who has our sea jasper. And now we go to the salt cave, which is only Pakistan, and New York. New York's the only place you can find Herkimer diamond. So every little area has a different value or a different frequency of gemstone that we walk upon as a human.
Okay. Now, I'm not into metaphysical things, so I don't really know much about it. But my stepdad was a wizard, and so he had lots of crystals and all kinds of different stones and things like that around the house growing up.
And I only got one of them. Isn't that whack?
Well, that was the only one left.
No, you guys back in the day were all super like, oh, you can't have those. You barely let Charles have one.
Well, yeah, because, after what Craig told me, my stepdad, his name was Craig. After he told me that when you do tarot cards for somebody, he was not a Christian, he was not he wasn't spiritual at all, I don't think.
I mean, that takes some level of spirituality.
Yeah. Okay, so he wasn't religious.
Yeah.
But he had said that things attached to you, spirits attached to you when you do that. And so that was always in the back of my mind.
So I took a lot of theology classes. I was actually Catholic until I was 28 years old. And I was going to be a nun. By the time I was 14,
wow.
I actually told my mom I was going to be a nun in the Roman Catholic faith.
Wow.
And when I got to be in the military, and I realized, boy, there was a new world. Instead of before the show, we were talking about the town. My town was only about 1,700 people when I grew up. So we had one Chinese guy. His name was Steve Lee, and I had a mulatto, and her name was Connie Smith. So we really did not have ethics. I mean, everything was Christian based in our area. We had one Jewish temple for like a lot of different areas in the area, but I grew up very tiny, very very small. The military, when I started going to college and took theology courses and being in the military to see a lot of the different ethics, it was a big opener for me. And in Las Vegas, right before I went to Miami, I was stationed at Nellis Air Force Base in Las Vegas. And that opened up my eyes a lot too. But I was always traveling because I was a bandy. And so I was always traveling all over the place. Plus, I was an exchange student. I got to go to Italy.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wasn't. I really didn't. I was more scholastic than anything else. Major hockey player. In fact, I got a scholarship to go into Colorado Springs with hockey. So it was different. It was just a different way of growing up in the mid 80s. And at 28, I was mad because I went to get married the first time to my not my basic training, but he was my trainer in Vegas. And they refused to marry me. He was Southern Baptist, and they said no. I go, no. I go, you show me in the Bible anywhere where it says I can't marry a Southern Baptist. I was heartbroken. I really was heartbroken. And then it turned around, and then they said that it's okay, because we can, for $5,000, we can go ahead and we can marry you inside of St. Joseph's Catholic Church. Yeah. And that archdiocese, I was so angry. I was so bitter that I never got married in the Catholic Church to that gentleman, but it didn't last very long, 4 months. Now you hear this one. So they wouldn't marry you. And they said, well, if you don't get married, you can never receive the Eucharist again because we don't recognize your marriage. 4 months later, of course, I did an annulment. My family didn't realize it for like a year or so.
Okay.
And I know the only reason they did is because I just had this ugly gut feeling it wasn't going to go very well when I spoke my truth. So then I went to, I got married to a gentleman from Trinidad, and I was pregnant. So that was a rude awakening for my family because he was African Venezuelan Chinese from Trinidad. The shocker when I brought him to my town. And that was the first time ever that I understood racism and biasms. And that to me was hard. It hurt. It hurt really bad. Anyway, long of the short, here I am. I came back, and then I went with him. He was Catholic from Trinidad. He was a Roman Catholic. So I asked if I could get married again. And now I'm in Miami, and the Miami diocese said, no, because you're divorced. I said, but you didn't recognize the marriage. How is this that you didn't recognize? And this is Christian, right? You didn't recognize
you down.
Right. You didn't recognize the marriage. So my husband at the time from Trinidad, he goes, I wasn't married. How am I being sanctioned? So we went to Trinidad, and believe it or not, the archdiocese in Trinidad married us and said, I don't know what's going on in the United States archdiocese. We didn't recognize your marriage because it wasn't Catholic. I said, I just need to ask anybody, where does it say that in the damn Bible? Where? I mean, I'm taking 4 years of theology. Where? And I couldn't. By the time I turned 28, I knew that I had all the Claires. I had Claire Augustus, I had Claire Sentient, Claire Cognizant, Claire Vigilant. I had them all. I had all 7. I didn't know what they were called. I didn't know anything about it. And I always had changing colored eyes. My eyes would go from piercing green to one eye green, one eye brown. I mean, I had the Sophia eye. If you know about Mary Magdalene, Sophia eye. I had these even at a younger age. I always knew like something was just different within. Something was just different for me. And it truly worked out the way it was supposed to. I did the military, and from the military, I went right into fishing and the hunting industry. I was a business developer, and I enjoyed my travel. I enjoyed my life. And by the time that I realized I can't abide by Catholicism anymore, it's just not. It's awkward. It's nothing that the Bible says. It's nothing that is conforming to me. And They don't even tell you in the 490 versions of the Bible, what the hell did Christ do between 8 and 25? Like, what the hell did the man do? Right? And then my mother would say that I was sacrilegious because she's very, very, very much into the Catholicism. And I remember saying, there's things happening that I can't explain. I don't even know how to explain these things. Besides, I have faith and I have will, I have understanding. I have all 12 mind power centers, and they're all working in conjunction with 144 chakra patterns. And I am loving my life. Whether you choose not to love me because you think I'm I don't know. I was like, I cannot be labeled, and I refuse to be labeled by the baby boomer era or Generation X. I refuse. I'm sorry, you're not going to label me, because the Bible claims that man is Christ. Christ is man, right? He said he was born of a man. He was born of God. God, that's his son. But when he was here before crucified, he was man. he was man. And he was to be here to show that positive balance. He was here. He was made man to show that we can heal. We are the physical soul beings, not this physical outlook that people see. And that's truly, when I took theology, man, I realized that Zoroastrianism was like the first religion ever, and how everybody broke off Zoroastrianism and Christianity, Taoism, Buddhism, Hinduism. They all have come stranding. Even Sikh is coming and stranding off of Zoroastrianism. And when you make that connection, you stop titling and labeling. Period. There's no labeling or titling for anybody, because that's judgment. And I don't judge. I refuse to judge. Archangel Gabriel and God will judge when I die, right? And that's all I need. The judgment of the horn. That's Archangel Gabriel. So when people tell me that I'm sacrilegious, I'm like, I think you need more religion, like, because I'm not so sure you understand what I do. And if you have a mind frame of just Christianity and you put those blinders like this in life, that's really sad, because you're missing another part of Jesus Christ, who walked this earth between 8 and 25, who did numerous things for numerous religions around the world. And it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing how many scrolls are in all the other religions about Christ learning. I even asked my mother the other day, go, Mom, she said something to me about why I was opening up my retreat center on that farm. And I told her, I said, because I feel there's a lot of broken people. And where there's broken people, if I can follow the I am Christ light, and I can follow the healing modalities in which I was bestowed, then why not? Why not have somewhere where people can get away from that energy that's striking them in order to heal in the most beautiful ways? I mean, it's like I tell everybody who has health ailments, whether you have a health ailment, a mental ailment, or you. Okay, so I don't wear my glasses. I have all the colors of the chakra glasses. Like I had my green ones on today, right?
And we've got to take a break, because we're at 22 minutes, but we'll come back. And we'll get back onto that. I think it's sorry. It's Matt Oakley, Away with Words, and Matt will be our guest next week. So stay tuned.
She's from Alabama, I caught her red-handed, drinking whiskey on Saturday night. I can't imagine I'm overreacting, she's losing her mind. I met her mama and told her about her problems, how it's happened now a couple of times. And girl, I'm sorry, I'll be gone by the morning, cause you ain't the marrying type. Well, she's got a way with words, and I know it hurts, so hold it, protect your pride. And girl, that's the way it works, and we ain't the first ones tricked by the morning light. So we came up, make love, then we take some, stay up, wake up all the neighbors. Yeah, I swore I was done with her, but she's got a way with words.
opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, everybody, to Into the Weeds podcast here on Military Broadcast Radio. I had myself muted again. Okay, so we're with MJ, and we actually, I know that we were on that topic, MJ, but I really want to get to Marcellus Williams. This topic is really heartbreaking. Let's see. Okay, thank you, Joel. It's so heartbreaking. I didn't find out about it until yesterday, and this man, Marcellus Williams, is facing execution here in Missouri despite evidence of innocence, prosecutor's confession of racial bias at trial, and victim opposition. So, wow, this is a scary case. It's scary.
It is scary.
All of the evidence that they have, none of it leads back to this man. And yet he is on death row and will be executed in 2 days if our justice system doesn't do something about it. And I'm heartbroken because I didn't know about this, and I live in Missouri.
We live close enough to try and do something about it, and it's just kind of late.
Yeah.
To organize something.
Yeah, I mean,
Never too late, ladies. Never too late. Because you have such a following, whether you're on StreamYard or not. Get on live. Make your voice work. You have the followers in there. Make your voice be that voice of, for this man. This is what's wrong. There is so much trajectory. There's so much AI. There's so much false accusations. There's so much false accusations. And this happens. This happens more than people are aware of. So I applaud you. Do you go on, whether you're on StreamYard or MBR, use your voice and your followers to just do a live and get Missouri rallying to save a man who we all know is not guilty. The DNA evidence is right there. So if that's the case, use that beautiful voice you guys got and get a rally going, whether it has to be, this is great because now the awareness of people who are not in Missouri or may not know about this.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree. Yeah. It only takes one person to listen, It's not like we're trying to, make like millions of dollars or anything. When this is brought to their attention, look at all the veterans that came up missing, and then as soon as they sent it to MBR and we posted that out. And when we posted that out, like, we might not have a huge connection, but everybody joined with us has a huge connection, and and we found them. That
what happened? What happened, Joel?
We had a couple of veterans, like, kind of go missing and stuff like that, and we put it out there, and even with the funeral, with somebody dropped the veteran right off at the funeral, and he didn't have any family or anything like that, and he had full services, and it was on the news, and like I said, we didn't have that much of a connection, but we're partnered with other people that have connections as well. It only takes one person, one person to hear it. And now that this is brought to our attention, we'll cover it. We'll bring it up a little bit Monday, tomorrow, and then hey, maybe we can start some buzz. But yeah, don't ever think that, Amber or Laura. You have a lot of viewers, you have a lot of listeners, and when they see this is going on, oh, okay, all right, we don't need to watch P. Diddy. We need to watch this.
Well, it's not really even that. It's just I wanted to if I would have known about it earlier, I would have tried to organize some sort of a protest or something. Like I was thinking about like going out like in front of the governor's mansion, because I think he's the one that shut it down after the previous governor was trying to get the case kind of looked more into.
Yeah.
And so our current governor, Ashcroft, I believe, is the one. No, is Ashcroft the last one? Am I just dumb? It's not Ashcroft. Parsons. Was that the last one? Or did I just completely bring up some random ass person?
No, there was an Ashcroft. But okay. He was like in the 90s.
Okay, I don't know why. Ignore that blip. Anyway, Parsons is the one who shut it down.
Yes.
He's the one who shut it down. And so, I mean, I can show up, I can pull up and stand outside of his gate. I mean, I've smoked many a J in his garden. So anyway, all I'm gonna say is I would pull up with a bunch of people. Just, I don't know how to rally all those people within the next day or so, especially since I work. But that was just my thought.
Yeah, no.
But we can still do something, and we absolutely will be doing something to anyone who's listening. I'm planning on making a TikTok video, tonight before I go to bed. Yeah. And I mean, that's only so much, but I'm ready to go out with, signs and stuff.
Well, and just so everybody's aware, I have reached out to all of Marcellus's people, either by phone or email. I have not received anything back. Now, granted, I found out on Saturday, and today's Sunday.
It doesn't matter. These are the days leading up to the execution. They should be on their A game. They should be reading every single email. They should be trying to get any avenue to get their freaking stuff out, especially since we're associated with
They're supposed to. They're supposed to, but when does that really happen? I mean, let's be honest, okay?
Well,
the bankers leave at 5 o'clock, even if there's a loan in, and they're not going to miss 3 o'clock hour. You have to understand.
This is a man's life.
In this particular case, I mean, even the prosecution, the people who prosecuted Marcellus initially back in, what was it? Was it like in the 90s when this even happened?
It happened in 98.
Yeah, so this happened in 98. This is before I was even born. And so the prosecution that prosecuted him all this time, they even went to bat for him. And the victim's family went to bat for him. And everybody went to bat for him. And I'm sorry, I'm just going to say probably racist judge, because I can't think this would be motivated by anything other than race. And, we don't even want to talk about just the way that they treat those prisoners.
I think the race issue was a little bit bigger back then than it is today.
I think it's regional. As someone who lives in Missouri,
that is true, Joel, because okay, so the way I grew up in a military town, and you know how a military town is. There's people from all walks of life. Soldiers marry all kinds of different people. There's just all kinds of people in a military town. And so I kind of grew up in this utopia where I did not realize that there was actual racism anymore. Growing up in the 90s, with all of the influence of the 90s, I felt like, everybody was equal. And I feel like the people who grew up with me felt like that too. And then I lived in Florida, and there wasn't much.
We had good experiences where we lived for the majority of the time that we were in Florida. I would say when we were in the Tampa area, there was not a lot of racism. There was a lot of diversity with a lot of the people. And then when we moved to the Orlando area, where I started to see racism, and I had never seen it before.
And I had never really seen racism until I moved to Missouri. So
I totally agree.
I'm telling you what, I was, I've never been that angry at somebody.
And you don't think that it's right there, but it really is. I mean, I won't say this is 100% across the board, but a lot of racism is regional. A lot of, especially like within the structure of this whole thing. And I'm sorry, I don't think that if this was a white man, I don't think it would be an issue. Or I think there'd be a lot more people rallying behind him, and there might be a protest, going on. But I haven't heard of any protests.
And I just found out about this man.
And they won't even reach back out to you. Yeah. And it's like,
I agree. I agree.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go off there, but it was ridiculous.
No, I agree.
I hate it so much.
I really do. I really agree.
And sorry.
Can I throw something out? Can I throw something out to all of you? So imagine this was back in the 90s. This was over 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. Not a lot of forensics was done back then. Not a lot of things. So now you have to understand there is a consciousness of the police said they did it, right? And the family's now going, I'm trying to believe you and I can't, because all the evidence that they did have was pointing to him in the 90s. So
No, that's not what's happening. That's
No.
not what's happening at all. They found DNA evidence, I think, or
They
some sort
found
of
lots
forensic
of-
evidence
okay,
pointing
so-
against it. Yeah, you just want to get into the actual summaries of it and
Yeah.
we can have a discussion.
Yeah. So,
Because it's
yeah,
what makes it all the more frustrating is that like we agree with what you're saying, but they actually do have DNA evidence, and the victim's family is advocating for him not to be put to death.
So let's see. It was
somebody's sitting on the toilet and not going. That's exactly what. That's exactly what's going on.
Sounds like someone's trying to push the point. Just like medias and just like everything else today, they talk, and then somebody makes a conviction who is in a high. Look at P. Diddy, high profiler, right? Made a comment and didn't want to be ridiculed. You know, there's a lot of different like things I can take off of this. Really a lot of different balances, and I really don't know the story besides you girls telling me it was in the 1990s and now they have this evidence. So when you said now that they have this evidence, I'm like, okay, well, if it wasn't there, then I can see how the family has been torn apart with just the event within itself, right? That's number one. And then now you have to have the trust and the belief in that person. But if you said that DNA was there from the start,
I think
somebody is a high profiler.
I think he knows something that somebody doesn't want him to know, and I'm sure that there's been plenty of things put in to help him, and it's just kind of got the paperwork's kind of just got shuffled away a little bit. I that's what I'm thinking.
No, it's just Also, I want to remind everyone real quick. It is an election year. Go out and vote because your voice matters now more than ever. You know, I personally cannot, in good faith, vote for this governor again. What party even is he?
Running again?
Is he running? I don't know. If
he's not running again.
Okay, well, good.
But the attorney general is running again, and he's the one that has the most say, I think.
I have friends that worked decently high in the Missouri government somewhat recently within the last like decade. I should go talk to them like tomorrow.
But okay, so
see what's up with that.
We're gonna start. We'll get into it, and then we'll for a few minutes, and then take another break.
Yeah.
Okay, so on August 11th, 1998, in St. Louis, Missouri, Felicia Garvey was murdered. Somebody broke into her home, and guys, bear with me because, like I said, I just found out about this and I wasn't able to make a script, but I've got a lot of notes. So
you're doing great.
Sorry, and I have bad allergies, so sorry.
Oh my god, me too. I just sniffle the whole time. Sorry, that's distracting.
Okay, so it was in St. Louis, and around 7:50 p.m. Felicia's husband came home and found her dead. She had been stabbed 43 times. Well, actually, she had been cut 43 times with a knife, had been stabbed 16 times, and 4 of those wounds were fatal. So when they got there, the murder weapon was actually stuck in her neck, and it was twisted all the way down to the bone. And that is key evidence because it is important. Okay, so there were bloody fingerprints left at the scene. There was bloody shoe prints. There was head and pubic hair. And then there was DNA left on the murder weapon. Well, I don't know if it was or not. It's been contaminated. So we'll get there. So anyway, she was stabbed, and the medical examiner believed that it was also just like a murder that had happened 3 weeks earlier in the same area, 3 miles away. Let's see, a woman named Deborah McLean was stabbed and killed in the same way. And the murder weapon was found in her neck as well, the same way as Felicia's. So obviously, this happened by the same person, and the medical examiner confirmed that. She totally believed that it was done by the same person. So, okay, let's see. They were two different women. Felicia was a doctor's wife, and she was a former reporter. And Deborah lived in an apartment. Two different socioeconomic groups, but they were killed the same way. So there was definitely somebody out there doing it that was doing it to more than one person. So let's see. There was also Dr. Case, the medical examiner, also noted that there was broken glass and that the neck or the weapon in the neck was like a calling card. So on August 31st, so after that happened, they couldn't find anybody responsible, and it took a whole year before Marcellus's name came up. And I'm sorry, I keep wanting to call him Marcus. I don't know why, but I'm sorry. It's Marcellus. Okay. So let's see. In August 31st, 1998, Marcellus was arrested for robbing a Burger King at gunpoint. He had done quite a few things like that, and so he was arrested, and he was given actually 20 years for that crime. But a year after the murder, an inmate who had been in with Marcellus in the prison, who had also been convicted for robbery at gunpoint, and they're loosely connected as relatives, I guess, being related by marriage somehow. They were sitting around talking, and supposedly an ad or an advertisement of some sort came on about the murder, and there was a $10,000 reward issued. And so this man, his name was Henry Cole. He said to the police, actually, he was in for, I don't know, I think it was 6 months, and then he got out, and he ran immediately to the police station right after getting out to tell them that Marcellus was the perpetrator of this crime. And but it was ultimately because of the $10,000 reward. He was a crack addict, and he was very vocal about that being the reason for wanting the reward money.
Wow.
So unfortunately, drugs played a part in this.
They seem to, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
What about a lie detector? How come they didn't do a lie detector on a criminal aspect of his word?
We haven't done too much research. It's very possible they did, but I know that lie detectors don't hold up in court a good portion of the time, especially when clearly they're not really caring about the evidence in it.
Yeah. So, actually, is it time for us to
let's go ahead and take another break real quick, and then we'll go ahead and get into the rest of this very unfortunate situation.
Yeah, and like I said, guys, sorry, I'm winging it, but
you're doing a great job.
Okay. So we are going to go to a break, and this is a long one. It is Pray for Our Planet by the Blue Mountain Tribe. And I will be having the Blue Mountain Tribe on here soon for an interview. So
I didn't know that.
Yes, I'm excited to have them on. So this is Pray for Our Planet, the Blue Mountain Tribe. Stay tuned.
The land is sacred. These words are at the core of your being. The land is our mother. The rivers are blood. Take our land away and we die. That is the Indian in us. dies. Mary Bravebird, Lakota.
Pray for our planet, something's going wrong. Pray for our planet, something's going wrong. Coal mines compromise the dripping the skin. The killing of the next is a terrible sin. Pray for our planet, something's going wrong. Plagues and disease, violence everywhere. They're killing Mother Nature and nobody cares. Anger and hatred, all they want to do is fight. I'm praying to the Father in this sacred time. It's gonna be alright. Get some tobacco, grab your safe, paint your pony, paint your face, raise your feather at a sacred place. Mother Earth is dying, it's a damn disgrace. Plagues and disease, violence everywhere. They're killing Mother Nature and nobody cares. Anger and hatred, all they want to do is fight. I'm praying to the Father on this sacred side. It's gonna be alright.
Joy and peace back in our lives. No more destruction of our sacred sites. Let's pray together and tell the world no more hatred and no more lies. Your skin color, race, religion, other people's opinion will not divide us. Will not divide us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Hello and welcome back to Into the Weeds podcast here on Military Broadcast Radio. We're with MJ and we're talking about Marcellus Williams and his execution date and his case.
It's supposed to be on the 24th and today is the 22nd as we were recording. So real quick, just in case anyone's like tuning in and might tune out later, do you have the link for I can't remember if it was like a petition or something. Let me just, do you know what I'm talking about? I sent it to you. I don't know if you filled it out.
Yeah, I did.
Did you? Okay, I have a text. Okay, so she might post it in the chat in a minute or something, or maybe we'll send it over to Joel and have Joel do it. But if you text Marcellus, and that is MARCELLUS to the number 97016, they will go ahead and send you some sort of a link to the Innocence Project. And this is so far the only thing that's really been like majorly organized that I know of that is in an effort to help him. So again, just anyone, tuning in right now, it's going to be text the number 97016, and that's going to be MARCELLUS. Sorry, I just wanted to throw that out there while anyone's watching.
Yeah, no, thank you. And the Innocence Project is where I got a lot of my information from. And then also I got my information from a podcast called Sinisterhood. I have never heard of them before, but they were the only ones who had done a long form content on Marcellus.
That's crazy.
And his case has been out there forever. Now, there may have been more. I did see one other one that was like 20 minutes long or something like that.
That's crazy, though. I mean, especially with all of like people. I like true crime to an extent, but I always wrestle with it because it gets so sensationalized and people only focus on, oh, well, I know who Jeffrey Dahmer is, or I know who Casey Anthony is, or, these random people, but no one's paying attention to the important stuff that's really current. They just repeat the same old stories over and over again, which, it's good to know about them because, it can be a good case study. It can give you some good red flags to look out for, but no one's actively trying to, some people actively try and help. And, I commend those people for that. But I mean, there's very little coverage. I've seen a few TikTok videos and that's about it. So anyway.
Yeah, and I'm sorry if our audio is off for some reason. It is.
Dad came down here and was messing with it.
Yeah, we don't know what's going on, but yeah. So this is Marcellus Williams, and he is set to be executed on the 24th in 2 days. So I'm going to get back into what happened. So let's see. Okay, so Henry Cole, the man who went to the police station and gave witness and said that Marcellus confessed to him that he had killed Felicia, which she went by the nickname Leisha. So I may use that interchangeable. So when he went to the police station, he said that Marcellus told him that he took a bus to the crime scene and got there that way. And that he also brought all these notes that he had written down saying that these were the notes over the period of time that he was with Marcellus that he was giving him information. So he also told him that he wanted the reward and that they should speak to Marcellus's girlfriend, who was his girlfriend at the time of the murder. And her name was Laura Asaro. And on November 17th, 1999, police questioned Marcellus about the murder. And they also brought in Laura Asaro. And she had multiple convictions and warrants. And when they came to get her, she actually thought that they were there to arrest her for the warrants that she had. But when they brought her in, they're like, "Hey, we will take your warrants off if you tell us everything you know about Marcellus and this murder." So she was incentivized to
Far too common.
yeah,
Far too common.
and she actually ended up getting half of the reward money too.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's the thing about reward money.
Mm-hmm.
It's good sometimes, but then others, yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't think I would even take reward money for something like that.
Yeah.
You know?
So,
cause.
I know.
Sorry, anyway.
No, she was a sex worker and a crack addict and a known liar. And what were you going to say?
I was going to say that doesn't, nothing. Sorry. I was going to say being a crack addict or a sex worker, I just want to throw out there, doesn't always, mean that you shouldn't be taken seriously, but that's clearly not the case.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's different, right?
Yeah, no, that's clearly not the case, though.
Yeah, allegedly. She said in the interrogation that Marcellus confessed to the crime to her, and she saw scratch marks on his neck. And he told her that if she went and told the police that he would kill her and her family. This is what she told the police. So she also said, let's see. She said that he took, okay, now this is Laura's version. She says that he drove over to the crime scene in his car.
So inconsistencies in the stories
from the two different people who are the witnesses. Okay, so there's an inconsistency, and but at the time, the car was barely operable, even to the point of inoperable most times, and she lived in the car. Okay, so I guess she was homeless and she was living in this car, and while he was gone, she had access to the car. Mm-hmm. She had the keys and was living in it for quite some time. I don't know how long. Mm-hmm. So remember that this is a year after the murder. Okay. So she also tells them that Marcellus sold a laptop to get money for crack, and it ends up
90s. Sorry, this is before I was born. How did you guys make y'all laugh at me? I assumed that laptops didn't exist until at least 2003. I'm sorry, I didn't know computers existed, so I wasn't trying to pause the important story for that. My bad. I'm sorry. I didn't see a laptop in person for a few years.
Sorry.
I think you
unmuted
yourself and muted me. But I'm sorry, that
I'm a hot mess.
Let's just go. Let's go back to that. I'm sorry, my little clip wasn't important at all.
My bad. Okay, so she tells them about this laptop, and coincidentally, Glenn Roberts, who was a family friend, he lived up the street from Marcellus. He bought the laptop from Marcellus, and it ended up being the same serial number as the laptop owned by Felicia's husband, the doctor. So it was definitely stolen from their house. But it was kind of a common thing, well, it is a common thing in that lifestyle, buying, selling, trading. No one asks if it's, stolen or where you get it from. It's just a matter of getting stuff and then whatever. Okay, so Laura also said that she saw the victim's ID in the trunk of Marcellus's car. So when
eyewitness testimonies aren't even supposed to be that reliable also, like a lot of times, like they're not taken seriously in court. And her remembering an ID, I mean, like the likelihood of even remembering a detail like that.
Yeah, especially a year.
Yeah, a year later. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm just putting out inconsistencies in my mind.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of inconsistencies.
And I'm sorry, not to interrupt the story, because again, that's very important, but something I was thinking of real quick before I forget. I think we know the head of admissions at Lincoln University, which is a historically Black college. If you think that we reached out to him, maybe we could try and see if there'd be anybody there that would be willing to go out in protest.
Why didn't I even think about asking them for somebody to come
Sorry,
on?
I just figured I would mention that real quickly before it left my mind. But I'm sorry, I just want to put that out there. Let's continue with the story, and then we can maybe talk about that a little more later. I just want to make sure that I got that into the universe.
No, thank you that you mentioned that way.
Because I think if anyone will be able to get things together, we can make a little travel. I don't think it would be too far for us to drive over there and figure something out. Sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
So
very important story.
Yeah. So, like I said, she said that she found or she saw the victim's ID in the trunk of his car, but later the ID was found in the victim's home, so it wasn't even missing. They found a St. Louis Post Dispatch ruler and calculator in the glove box, but no ID.
Wow.
Now, Felicia worked for the St. Louis Post Dispatch. So there was a ruler and a calculator that they found in the glove box, but that was it. Now, interesting thing is this woman lived in this car, and it had been over a year since the murder, and they find the ruler and the calculator in the glove box. But guess what?
What else did they find?
What else didn't they find?
Oh, what did they not find?
They didn't find any fingerprints at all on the calculator or the ruler.
That's sus.
Yeah. After living in her car.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah, there is no way that there was no fingerprints on the calculator or the ruler. Okay. So let's see. She got a share of the reward money for agreeing to testify. Let's see. Okay, January 6, 2000. Yeah.
No, I was saying January 6th. Sorry. Anyway.
Oh,
sorry.
2000.
No, I'm just, anyway, continue. I'm just being. Anyway.
So on that day, he was indicted for murder. And the defense requested testing of the fingerprints found at the scene, but the prosecutor said it was impossible because the police lost the evidence. They asked for a continuance, but the motions were denied because they said there's no time. They need to hurry and prosecute this case.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, like I said, he had robbed a Burger King. He got 20 years for that. Okay. He got 20 years for that. But
Cosby got out of jail on a technicality. Sorry, that's just all I'm thinking. Cosby got out of jail on a technicality, and all of this evidence is stating that he should not be being put to death, and they can't even. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, the justice system is not a justice system. It's an injustice system.
Oh, yeah. I've lost all hope since we moved up to Missouri. I never felt that way until we moved to Missouri.
Me either.
Or it's not that I didn't feel that way. I knew obviously there were problems. Don't get me wrong. Don't take me out of context.
Yeah.
But I just didn't realize
the severity.
How bad it is.
Yeah.
I never had any issues or run-ins with cops in Florida. I've had a few in Missouri.
Okay. So
I had one. It was a Black woman in Fort Lauderdale. I was going to a trade show, and she literally pulled me over for speeding, which I was. I was 11 miles over the speed limit. And I went to open up my door because I told her, I said, I don't have an ashtray. I'm not littering. I just need to put it out somewhere so that I can get you your information. She goes, Whitey, get the F in your car.
It happens. It happens both ways.
Excuse me? I was like, really? And again, here you go, country bumpkin in a big city. They don't work.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah. Luckily, I haven't had too many run-ins with the police on my own accord.
Most of mine have been fairly positive reaction or interactions, but I've gotten a couple tickets within the last couple of years, and I may or may not have gotten out of like 4.
Oh, she gave me a ticket, but I reported her. She gave me a ticket.
I don't blame you.
And I did report her, and I had somebody in the car who witnessed it. I got it dropped, but yeah, it goes both ways. It really does.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's see. So June of 2001. Okay, what? Sorry, I'm reading
June
my notes.
2001. Is it right there?
Okay,
was
so
racially biased.
Okay, so in 2001, they had the jury, and they were racially biased. 6 out of the 7 qualified Black jurors were struck out, and 1 was disqualified for being a postal worker. And it's because of something called the postal gambit, or the postman gambit. Have you ever heard of it?
I've never heard of that, but I did hear how someone might have said something about one of the potential jurors that was Black. Something was said about his hair, and he was just. I heard that. I'm not going to confirm that it was 100% true. Then, like, one of the videos or one of the articles that I read, allegedly, because again, I'm just referencing something from my brain, but they mentioned that one of the jurors might have been said that he looked unprofessional or something because of his hair or something. Again, I don't know, but this is also 20, almost 30 years ago. Well, it's not right. 2001. I guess it's not. How old am I? Oh. Anyway, sorry.
Okay, hold on. Let me go back to my document. Okay, so the postman gambit.
Okay,
I had never heard of this.
Never heard of it.
Or I had never heard of the term, but I've actually heard of what this is. Okay. So basically, it is the county of St. Louis has decided that they don't like postmen or postal workers being on their juries because they're known to go postal and be disgruntled and angry. And so,
and then like stop doing their job or what? Like, what do you mean?
No,
they're just angry.
They're just volatile.
In the court, they're volatile, or afterwards?
Just in general, volatile people.
Postmen are?
Postal workers. That's
in their opinion.
Okay, and so back then, going postal was a thing where people would go and shoot up post offices and things like that.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's context the audience might not.
Yeah. So I guess they took this literally and decided that they didn't want postal workers in the juries. So, and then to top that off,
just St. Louis though, not just like.
Well, it happens in a lot of places, but St. Louis is very known for it. So, So, and it also happens to be that a lot of African Americans are in the Postal Service.
So it's going back to.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we're going to leave that there. Yeah. But that's basically what it was. So they had 11 white jurors, 1 Black juror. The judge would not let the evidence of the laptop belonging to Laura into the trial. His lawyer had 2 capital punishments cases at the same time. So his lawyer
he wasn't being fully focused on.
Yeah, a public defender has 2 capital cases at the same time, and he has to prepare for both. So he wasn't on either one of them. I'd be interested to see how
what happened with the other one.
What happened with the other one and who his client was. Okay, so it says the bloody shoe print was not his because it wasn't even his size. The head and pubic hairs were not his. And the skin underneath Leisha's nails were not his. It was not his. And the murder weapon at that time was not tested, but it did have, it eventually came back that it had foreign DNA on the handle that wasn't his, but turned out that it was, I think the prosecutor and somebody else's DNA was on there. So they mishandled it. So, and then the bloody fingerprints were lost, as far as I know, from everything I heard.
10 out of 10 police work for Missouri, as always.
Yeah. I mean, Missouri.
Every arrest, not every arrest, but most of the arrests or things that I know about Missouri, whether it be people we know personally or cases like this, it is just fumble after fumble from the police departments.
Yeah. And I was actually kind of afraid to move to Missouri because of my husband's past and the things that he went through here. And it's like, why did I move back here?
And, you know, it's really sad too, because you know, we actually have a family member that is African American, and he moved back here 15 years ago, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, there ended up being like a bit of a tussle in the family because he even had to just explain to him and be like, listen, where you're going might not be safe for you.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it wasn't received well by everyone at the time, but
it was out of
blood. Oh, no. It wasn't him being any certain type of way. It was just other people, not even the person, you know, we're talking about. It was just, you know, normal things, just complicated. But yeah, no, I mean, he literally had to go and sit down and warn him about it. And it's, yeah. He wasn't wrong. He was not wrong.
Yeah, unfortunately, Missouri does not have a very good track record, unfortunately.
No.
It's disappointing.
Did you know the wall over one of the bridges in the Capitol? Do you know why it's built? It's built because it used to be segregated. All the black people would be on one side of the bridge.
Can you say that again? Sorry.
One of the bridges that leads into the Capitol, it's not the one that leads over to like Columbia and all that stuff. One of the bridges that has like the big pretty wall. You know what I'm talking about? From what I've been told, one side it was segregated. One side was like for all the blacks and all of the, you know, all the whites and everything were on the other side. And it was just, sorry. It was just something I've passed, you know, a few times. And every time, or since I've been told it, I'm just thinking about it every time. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
And it's even still kind of segregated in the Capitol area.
Yeah, Alora.
Not really, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, she brought up the guy we know that's the head of admissions at Lincoln University. It's an HBCU. And he sent me to a really good documentary called The Foot. And it's about Jefferson City, the capital of Missouri, and how that whole area was settled by slaves or former slaves, and they built it up, and it's a beautiful area. I mean, it's just absolutely gorgeous.
And it's so sad to see how like run down it's become. It's really trashy now.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the people, when they come up for the protest for Nick next month, are going to be really shocked about the area they're doing it in.
Yeah.
Is that at the federal courthouse?
No, I think they're doing it in front of the Capitol building.
Oh, in front of the Capitol building.
I think.
Oh, the Capitol building is gorgeous, though.
It's on High Street. The flyers on High Street.
High Street, yeah, it's probably the Capitol building. Yeah, the Capitol building. From what I understand, I think that Missouri was supposed to be the capital of the United States at one point, and so they really put like a lot into the Capitol building, and it's gorgeous. You know, sometimes we'll just drive a little further than normal, and I'll go and hang out over there. But yeah.
So anyways,
Sorry,
Missouri is just.
I always do tangents.
Missouri is a sad thing, but Joel actually just told us about something else. But I want to, before I get into that, I want to finish up Marcellus's case.
Yes.
Now, there's a whole lot of stuff that happened in the legal system, within the court system, that I don't even understand. And having only found out about it yesterday, I'm going to refer you to Sinisterhood podcast. They do a really good job breaking it down. I took some of my information from them and some news articles and things like that, and a couple of other videos that I found. But could you guys please just go to the Innocence Project?
Let me read out the number again.
Let me put it in the comments.
Yeah, go ahead and I'll read it out to you.
Okay, what is it?
So the number is going to be 97016, and it's for the Innocence Project.
Oh, what happened?
To your thing?
I have no idea.
Just click on something else and then click on it again. There we go. Okay, I'll read it out.
While you guys are doing that, I want to tell you some breaking news just came out. and I sent it to you in the private chat. I don't know if you guys want to cover that or not, but basically,
we can read it out.
But basically, long story short, it's being alleged,
alleged.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's being allocated that the sheriff's 11 daughter was having a little bit of a romantic thing with this judge, and that's the reason why he went into the courtroom and he shot him 5 times.
Okay, so you're talking about did that happen in, where did that happen in Kentucky?
It's saying that it happened in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so a sheriff went into a judge's office and the sheriff shot the judge?
Yep.
In Georgia?
And in Kentucky.
It's saying Kentucky. I thought it was Georgia. I found the article. It said it was in Kentucky. It don't matter. They all sound the same. Anyways, but yeah.
And so you're saying that the sheriff's 11-year-old daughter was being
groomed by the judge?
Mm-hmm. That's allegedly what what's coming out.
And judges get away with murder. They get away with everything. You know what? The judicial system, that's where the issue is, because with this Marcellus case, it was the judge that shot it down. The governor, yes, Parsons shut it down and was like, oh, whatever. But the judge had the final say, and the judge said, nope, doesn't matter. All the evidence you have doesn't matter. We'll just kill this dude. Seriously?
What's crazy is look, I'm not attracted to it, but she does not look 11. She looks a lot older than that. So when you think of people and you hear these things and it says the 11-year-old girl or a 14-year-old girl, some of these girls, some of these even guys, they don't look the age. They look a little bit older. I don't know if
it doesn't. I don't think that's.
Well, yeah, of course.
He definitely knew her age, though, and I don't.
Well, yes, I know. I was just talking about the look. Never mind.
Always check IDs. That's a safe bet.
No, but he's right. Where's the parenting? Where's the parenting to these kids at 11 years old who is allowing them to be more than
be alone and be alone with a judge?
I don't know. I can't. I can't fathom where half of these kids and these parents. I can't. Where's this in me? This is the Generation X in me, right? Mm-hmm. Where the hell are these parents raising these kids? It's like the kids are raising the parents. I can't anymore. I see it. Absolutely. I saw it a lot in Miami. I saw kids telling their parents to go F off, and the parents just walked away. And I really believe, I'm going to tell you what I believe. I'm going to tell you that in the late 80s, early 90s, I believe when they took away capital punishment in the schools to have corrections, the teachers lost all kind of respects. And I just think it is a movement. It was a movement for honoring whatever it is that somebody felt and how they felt. And I feel that they have so much entitlement, and I believe it's Generation X to blame. I do, because Generation X was the filter between the baby boomers and the millennials. And what did we do? We were not going to hit the kids. We were not going to discipline the kids. We were going to have the freeness of Woodstock, because we were all born in the 60s with that air of freedom. And so that's what we wanted. We wanted our kids to be that freedom. Unfortunately, I think that there was a little too much freedom on our kids, and I have them. I got a 32 and a 30-year-old, so I got them, and I watch them, and I even tell my own kids, please, I understand that's how you were taught, but now I'm going to unteach this, right? Because that was ego, it was judgment, and it's not what we're doing right now. And I had to unveil what I taught. It's a conditioned mechanism of the brain. And I think that this judge, for this poor guy, this Marcellus, the way I'm hearing this, he's like, whatever, it doesn't really matter. You're not going to put me through the mud, and you're not going to put all of our, stuff in the mud, because he's a criminal anyway. And that's how I see it. And that's sad. Yeah. It is really sad. It's really
Yeah, I think once somebody gets put into the system, it's very hard to get out.
Once you're a
without
felon,
judgment, right?
nobody
Without any
gives a
type
shit
of
about you.
judgment.
Right.
That's why
And-
people, that's why people murder sex workers, because who cares? You know what I mean? The police don't.
police don't.
The police don't. I mean, I care. I don't mean like who cares, but like, the police, whatever. She was just a trashy sex worker. You know that it was a dangerous job anyway. You're selling your butt, but you don't know how she got in that situation or anything like that.
Well,
I'm not saying it's great, but shit happens.
It's just like when somebody goes missing, automatically, if they find out that they do any type of drugs or have any mental health issues, they ramp down the severity of it because they're like, oh, well,
And the people that get the most attention are like pretty little white girls who go missing and stuff. And I'm not trying to act like, like Gabby Petito, her story needed to be shared. But at the same time, it's like, oh, how big that was? Well, how much attention is this getting? And this is something that's preventable,
Yeah, this is something that this man is still alive. We can take one little step.
You better text head of admissions after we're done with this.
I
And
will.
we'll see if we can. I'm sure there'll be at least a handful of students that'll be willing to show up. I'll pull up like after work or something like that.
Yeah, I'll just talk to him and see what we can do.
Yeah.
And even if we just have somebody on here from the college, discussing it. And
it'd be a good thing to discuss, but how are we going to take action? We have 2 days. We need to take action if we can.
I
If
mean,
we sit on our asses. I mean, we're like trying to, like we're going to go to the protest for Nick and stuff, but Nick isn't about to be put to death.
Yeah.
That doesn't really matter. I mean, it matters, but it doesn't matter.
No, you're
If
right.
we go to the
And
Nick protest and we don't at least try to do something here when we have the ability.
No, I genuinely, I care more about this situation.
What's it? I was going to say, one of my friends at work, she probably would show up. My friend Legetto, she'd probably show up for sure. But I don't have her phone number.
Yeah. Anyways, so that's Marcellus's story, and there's a whole lot more to it, guys. I did not give it any kind of justice. I rambled and I tried to present it, but it.
But you're putting it out there, and that's more than we can say for a lot of people.
Yeah,
So.
and hopefully, hopefully maybe tomorrow some of his people will call back or email back, and
if they don't,
hear
they can kiss my booty.
No, if I don't hear anything from anybody, I'm going to be very upset. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna let
That's a
everybody know
man's
that.
life. That's a man's life.
Yeah, because
Put it on blast.
the only person I did not reach out to was Marcellus's son, and I did not reach out to the victim's family. Otherwise, I reached out to.
I'd say maybe not reach out to the
I'm not
victim's
going to.
family, but Marcellus's son, right?
Yeah,
It might be worth it.
I'm gonna look and see
It
if I
probably
can
would be
find
worth
him.
it. I'm sure he would pull up if he has the ability to.
I'm gonna see if I can find him. But we're going to, I think, call it a night.
Yeah.
But we thank you so much, MJ, for coming on here. And
Sorry, we kind of rambled for that last half. We just wanted to get the story out,
No, it's interesting. It's very interesting. I love to hear dynamics, and because a lot of people don't realize how many dynamics of an interpretation there can be. So thank you for enlightening me.
Yeah.
No, you're welcome. And
I love these crossovers. I really do.
Yeah,
I really love these crossovers. And before we let you guys go, remember that MJ has her World of Conscious Positive Thinking tomorrow, Monday. Be there or just,
What time on Monday?
It is
9 o'clock.
9 p.m.
9
or 9
a.m.
a.m. Eastern.
Okay.
Eastern.
Eastern? Okay.
Okay,
Sorry,
awesome.
9 p.m. Eastern. And just real quick, I wanted to address, we had a comment just saying, please keep us updated if there's anything you can do to help. In the chat, in the comments, and we'll probably put it in the description or bio or something, whenever we're done, put it in the comments of like the regular chat.
I'll make a community post.
But regardless, text the number 97016. All you have to write is Marcellus, and then we'll send you a couple messages that will eventually send you a link to the Innocence Project, which currently is the only thing that I know of personally that is trying to take an active step. So just want to throw that out there.
Do messaging costs?
Oh, rates apply. It says message and data rates may apply, but I haven't gotten anything. And on any of the videos or things I've heard about, no one's had to pay anything. You know,
All
they
right.
just send it out.
If it charged me, I'll just invoice you and send it in the mail.
Okay, sounds great. I'll pay. Hey, listen, I don't have a problem with that. If it gets something done,
Yeah.
let's go.
Yeah, and call the governor. I will actually make a community post with all of the information. But thank you, everyone, for joining us here on Into the Weeds podcast here on Military Broadcast Radio. Check out MJ tomorrow at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
And we will see you guys next week. Thank you for joining us. Have a good week.
Have a good one.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us